What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Straight Betting. It is currently 1:43 a.m. on the East Coast, giving you guys a quick breakdown of the Saturday slate: Celtics versus Knicks, Wolves versus Warriors. But guys, look, I'm gonna put timestamps down below if you guys aren't a fan of me just talking hoops for a little bit. But man, I'm just gonna take a step back and appreciate how freaking good. I want to cuss, but I don't want to cuss early in the video. These playoffs have been. Nuggets Thunder, incredible game. Jokic and Shea both played absolutely terrible. Like, honestly, Jokic, like 95% of the time I watch him and I'm like, this dude, sorry guys, my dog just knocked that. This dude can do no wrong. He makes a perfect read every time. It seems like he shoots like 60% every single game, no matter what type of coverage he's getting. Played terrible. Shea, same thing with him sometimes. He played terrible as well, but the role players, Aaron Gordon, guys, I mean, he's just such a damn good player. And now all of a sudden, he can shoot the piss out of the ball. Now all of a sudden, he's the clutchest player since shit. I don't even know. I don't even know who's clutch like that. I was about to say Damian Lillard, but that's just like my youth speaking. But like since like Steph Curry, he's just like, I mean, he's had three ridiculous plays now. Obviously, that one to send the game to overtime, but yeah, all that to say, man, these playoffs have just been incredible. Game before that, Donovan Mitchell had your boy last second placed a bet in on Donovan Mitchell after talking about it the whole time, but he's playing at a ridiculous level too. I mean, I know the Pacers aren't really forcing the ball out of his hands or anything, which by the way, guys, that might be an adjustment coming soon. But yeah, I mean, he's averaging 40 points through 3 games. He's just playing out of his mind. I think that Donovan Mitchell, honestly, guys, he's someone who needs to start getting a little bit more respect. Just like when you're talking about top 5 players, like he seriously might be in there. He's incredible, great player. But yeah, these playoffs have been awesome. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too much of a nerd with hoops, and like I should be maybe like it's a Friday night, right? I mean, I work tomorrow, but it's a Friday night, and it's like, okay, maybe you should be out doing something, and then but these playoff games happen, and I'm like, okay, I'm so happy I didn't go out and drink or something. I'm so happy I stayed in and just enjoyed amazing, amazing hoops. So shout out to the NBA, shout out the playoffs. I'm in a great mood. One last thing before I get into the game breakdowns is that as a Wolves fan, right? I mean, we've been in the shitter for so long. We've been such a poor team for so long. And now we finally have Ant. We finally have a great roster, a great GM, a great coach. And then this OKC team, right? Just like they're the best setup team of all time, right? I mean, I think they had the best net rating of all time this year. Like, so they're already kind of a historic team. But they have all the draft picks in the world. Their team's the youngest in the NBA. And I'm gonna sound like such a hater, but it makes me so happy seeing OKC lose because when OKC just looks like this flawless team, and then you think about their future, it just brings a tear to my face, man. Because like I said, this Wolves team is my Wolves are set up well too, but it's just like we're not set up well at all compared to OKC. So just seeing OKC lose, man, it makes me happy. And also, not to get ahead of it, but I mean the Wolves, we should take care of business in the series, given that Steph's at least out until game 6, I believe. So I mean, the way it's trending, a Wolves Nuggets rematch, a team that we beat 4-0 in the regular season, a team that we beat in Denver down 20. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get ahead of it, but there's many reasons why OKC losing makes me happy, but that's another one of them. All right. We're about 5 minutes in. Remember that for the timestamp. I think it's like a little bit less than that because I screwed up the first intro. But yeah, let's get into some actual breakdowns, right? So we've been sitting on this page for a while. Knicks, Celtics. Guys, let's set the stage for this one. 5.5 point spread. Game is in the Garden, where the Knicks have actually lost 2 playoff games this year. Very low total, 208. Like I said, Knicks plus 5.5. Celtics down 2-0. Guys, I've been doing this all playoffs, but I do think we get a close game. However, I do think it kind of could look like that Indy Cleveland game from earlier, where it's like let's be real, guys. I don't mean to shit on the Knicks, but they're clearly the inferior team here. Like the Celtics are playing so damn bad. And these games are like they're blowing 20-point leads. They're shooting like 20% from deep in each game. That's not going to sustain. That's very likely not going to sustain. They're going to have a game where they shoot 50% from deep, get up like 45 threes or something, and just absolutely kill the Knicks. And if there's ever a spot for it, I think it's going to be this game. I think Boston comes out, punches the Knicks in the face, don't choke away the game. Maybe they have a little third quarter run to make it interesting. Fourth quarter, they just don't even let it get to crunch time. I love Celtics -5.5. Obviously, guys, I don't really bet spreads, but if I were to, or if I might like find something later in the day and pair it with Celtics money line if it's a little bit juiced or something. But yeah, that's all I'm basing this game off of, man. I'm looking for Celtics overs. I'm kind of looking for Knicks unders. That's how I see the game going. I think the Celtics bounce back. I think they make their threes. I think they win this game comfortably. All right, so let's start off with the Celtics players then, because we're starting off with that. Guys, this dude, Jason Tatum, has been catching all the slander in the world. All the slander in the world. It's bad. It's bad. I don't think his reputation's ever been worse, and that's saying something because he was catching a lot of shit last year, catching a lot of shit over the summer with the Olympics. If there's ever a time for him to respond, it is now. Do I trust him to respond? Absolutely not. I don't mean to shit on Tatum while he's down. But like there's certain players where it's like big time spot. I know that this dude's going to go off and drop 30. I just don't see Tatum in that bucket of guys. However, with that being said, man, Celtics, they got to play their guys massive minutes. They got to come in with like the thought that the rotation's going to be really short. I think Tatum's going to be attacking a lot. So getting into some X's and O's talks, some scheme talk. What the Knicks have been doing basically is Cat still playing drop. Sometimes he occasionally gets switched out on the perimeter. It's not pretty. You're going to get a good shot on Cat for the most part. But yeah, he's been playing drop. Look, the shots really should be there. They're definitely helping a lot when Tatum gets into the paint, and that's why the Celtics are still getting up a ton of threes. Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, they're really kind of just guarding him straight up. He's at 21.5, so I guess I didn't really say my final opinion. Look, I think that Tatum line, given the spot, I think it's fairly set, right? You know, it's like this line should probably be like 25.5 if we're being real. But given the spot, minute boost, all that stuff, I think the books probably have it right. That's kind of my thoughts on Tatum. Jaylen Brown, he's been getting single coverage. He's been shooting absolutely terrible. The problem is with Jaylen Brown is that these physical defenders, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, even Mikal Bridges sometimes when he's matched up with them, that's who Jaylen Brown's facing. Obviously, they're trying to mismatch Hunt and stuff. I think he's really hurt right now. I think the knees really zapped his athleticism a little bit. So, look, man, if you want to bet on Jaylen Brown, I can guarantee you Jaylen Brown is going to have more than enough volume for this 21.5 line. Can almost guarantee it. However, I think it's fair to like project inefficiency at this point, just given how he's looked, given how he's been playing. So lean over on Jaylen Brown, but I don't think I'll be able to get there. If it does happen to like dip down to 20.5 for whatever reason, and that definitely won't happen given that it's 22.5 most places. But yeah, if that were to happen, you know, maybe I'd end up biting. But look, it's a great matchup for Brown to score the way he's being defended. D White, he's been getting up a ton of threes as well. I wonder if they start to use Derek White more as a screener. I know that he's getting defended by Mikal Bridges for the most part, and it's like he's not the ideal person to bring into a screen. But Derek White's volume has been great, guys. I mean, Derek White's shooting insanely poorly. Like he shot 27% from deep, 35% from the floor, and still got 20 points. And then the first game, another very poor game, and still had 19 points. So just based off of that, I'd probably lean slightly over on D White. Drew Holiday, look, he just really doesn't get usage, but he is used as a screener on, and he gets defended by Brunson, so he gets brought into the screens a ton, and that's always like good for sneaky usage, you know. But I think his line's also fairly set. And then, okay, guys, this is the last thing with Boston that I want to talk about with props that I'm intrigued in a little bit. There's a big conundrum going on right now. Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford. Look, straight up, just going to get straight to the point. I'm gonna play Al Horford points and assists, very likely. I just need to know that Al Horford's actually gonna start at center. Would it shock y'all if like Kristaps just randomly like starts again and plays like 30 minutes? Like that's definitely in the range of outcomes. And if that's the case, we're getting a shit line. But the matchups are Al Horford's getting defended by Cat, and Al Horford's involved in so many screens. There's just so much chance for him to like get buckets and stuff. Al Horford, guys, he has had 7 PA and I believe 4 PA. Um, I guess he didn't really have. So he had 7 points. Shot 2 for 6, whatever. 5 potential assists, 0 assists. And then this game right here, he had 4 points. He shot 2 for 11, and let me quick see what that was from three. Obviously, it's going to be pretty bad. 0 for 5 from deep. Had no assists on 2 potentials. Look, I was looking back at and watching that game, and sometimes they were just like missing him. Like that pick and pop with Cat guarding him is like so wide open all the time. And like I said, they do switch it sometimes, but not all the time. And look, it just like Al Horford, the more threes Boston makes, the more the Knicks are going to have to rotate around. That's how Al Horford gets his assists, right? Al Horford gets pretty much all of his assists. Like if you look at this chart right here, Al Horford only 16% of his assists go to the restricted area. That's like an absurdly low mark for anyone. So going off of my cap, like I said, 65% of his assists go to 3 pointers. Going off of my cap of, I think Boston's seriously going to make threes here. I think they're going to, Tatum and Brown's drives are going to finally get some gravity going. I think, the ball is going to flow around the perimeter side to side, just typical Boston Celtic basketball. Like I said, this is just a spot for them to play their game, finally get back in the win column. I think Al Horford's going to be a big part of it. And, the matchup's 100% there with Cat guarding him in drop coverage and stuff. And yeah, if the ball can just get moving, Celtics can make some shots. It's going to get the Knicks defense really off balance. It's going to open stuff up for the role players. I love Al Horford here. Like I said, I'm always a big proponent on buying low and stuff like that. I just need to wait to see the Kristaps news because you could make look, you could be like on Twitter and get a little nugget about Kristaps saying like, oh, he's been completely fine the last couple of days, and then he's probably going to play like 24 to 30 to 32 minutes or something like that. You could maybe snipe a low Kristaps line. It can go with him too. I just think that these centers, actually, I don't think. I know that these centers have great matchups to get their pick and pop threes going. And like I said, I love the spot for Boston. I think they're going to get going. So yeah, I guess maybe based off of some news, maybe I could end up on Kristaps. But for how it's looking, right, with KP dealing with this weird illness, probably going to end up on Al Horford over PA at 9.5. Just got to keep up with the injury news. So that's my thoughts on Celtic stuff. The bench guys, look, I don't know. Hauser's out, so Pritchard's going to play his minutes, but don't really have any crazy take on Pritchard. Just like I said, guys, big leans on Celtics -5.5. Big leans on the Celtics, just like getting their threes to drop and stuff like that, and getting this Knicks defense off balance. And I think the number one place to start, the biggest matchup to exploit is those bigs, even Mitchell Robinson, those bigs in the pick and pop. They're not very switchable bigs. Yes, they have switched a little bit in the series, but not a ton. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. And also, like last thing on Celtic stuff. If they do switch, these guys, Tatum and Brown have got to make them pay. Like my goodness, they can generate a wide open shot whenever they want. Like they creep up on them, you go past them every time. Sidestep three, I know we clown Tatum for that, but it's like a wide open shot. So, and then eventually you're going to have to overcommit. Like I said, it's going to eventually open up for other people. That's how I'm feeling about this game. Going on to the Knicks side of things, man. So Celtics are literally switching everything basically. Like, I mean, they're starting off cross match with, I think it was Jaylen Brown for the most part, guarding Cat actually. And then Cat actually, he's a little bit interesting to me because he finally took it on himself to, go in the post, and he's a good post player. They're feeding him, obviously, like you'd like for the threes to be there. The threes are just not going to be there for Cat whatsoever. I mean, plus 190 for 2 threes. Like if you ever saw it for Cat, you'd be like, holy shit, like that's a great bet. It's really not. I mean, he took 1 3 last game. He took 1 3 the game, but he's taken 2 threes the entire series, which is crazy. But yeah, Cat, you could maybe sell me on this. I think it's a little bit interesting. Yeah, so switching defense, not good for OG. he's a big time. Like you need people to overhelp a little bit. Josh Hart, I wouldn't hate a fade on him eventually. He got so many like transition buckets, and that's his game. But if Boston's blocked in on defense, they really should not be giving up easy transition stuff. And with less Kristaps Porzingis, like yes, he's still getting guarded by Horford, but like so many switches go on and happen and stuff like that. Um, yeah, he's getting cheated off of, but it's just like not to the same crazy extent that it is with Kristaps playing big minutes. So I wouldn't hate an eventual sell on Josh Hart, but with that being said, he'll probably still get his fair bit of open looks. It just is he going to hit him or not? So yeah, OG unders makes sense just against switching defense. Brunson under assists. Look, I don't know how he had so many potential assists, which is pretty crazy. I don't hate this, man. It just switching defense, it's terrible for assists, but really good for points. So you could sell me on that. Kind of wish we had like a little bit of a better number on this. And like I said, guys, I'm just not in the bucket of like forcing the Knicks over here, man. I just really am not. I just think it's too good of a Celtic spot. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Mitch is a little bit interesting because he'll get hack a Mitch for sure at some point. So that's like free chances at points, right? But the two big lineup of two big lineup worked pretty well with Boston or with Cat and Mitch last game. So probably see that a fair bit, right? Played 22 minutes. That's very good for Mitch. Probably go back to it a little bit. Yeah, I don't have any crazy thoughts though, man, on Knicks stuff. Like I said, just kind of lean under on stuff. I'd say my two favorite looks are Brunson under 6.5 assists and maybe go back to OG Anunoby. Does he have a 16.5? Okay. OG Anunoby 17.5 PA under, I think is a very solid look. And Brunson under 5.5 assists. That's probably my two favorite looks from the Knicks side of things. All right, let's move it over. And like I said, before I move on, my two props for this game, my prop for this game is going to be I'm going to bet on a center for the Celtics, regardless. It just depends on who's starting. Some of that injury news, Kristaps news, stuff like that. One of these guys, like I said, I'm just so sold that one of these guys is finally going to pop. And the matchup is so there, and they got to look back on the film and be like, maybe it's just like they're not even trusting Al Horford because he hasn't been shooting good, but it just that stuff is wide open, man. And I think that it's finally going to be the game where the Celtics get those threes going. So yeah, keep an eye posted on that news. Though, like I said, if Al Horford's starting and stuff's pretty pessimistic on Kristaps, 9.5 PA is going to be the play. All right. Let's move it over to my Minnesota Timberwolves against the Golden State Warriors. Let's start off with Warriors stuff. Actually, let's start off with the official pick. So this is actually like an official pick. Only play I've locked in so far. And I am going with everyone's villain, probably. Dante DiVincenzo, over 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I played this at Prop Builder. At minus 118, and there's minus 115, minus 120, minus 125s. There's some pretty good prices out there. But yeah, DDV over 16.5 PRA. Guys, I say this every single podcast, video, whatever. I just like fucking love buying low. Dante is shooting so bad in the playoffs. So yeah, he's over in 4 out of 7 games. He's playing really good minutes, and that's not going to change. Or that's not going to change because he's just like a part of the best lineup. The best lineup for the Wolves is Dante, Ant, Jaden, Julius, and Naz. And it came to fruition last game too, except for Nikhil played really good. So maybe it was actually Nikhil. But yeah, I mean, Rudy Gobert, they are just clogging the lane on drives. They're doing a really good job of boxing him out. I was on his stuff last game, was not my best read. I thought it was going to be a great spot for him. And it's just kind of tough to he can defend against this Warriors team, obviously, because they don't have good offense. It just the offense is going to be so much worse with Rudy out there. I just really think that until maybe say we play Denver next series, that will be a series where Rudy is absolutely needed for massive minutes. He just isn't here. And I know I'm ranting about Rudy and stuff. Mike Conley, same with him, man. He's battling his ass off out there against Buddy Hield. He's just not the guy. So what they're doing against Ant is they are loading up aggressively on Ant. They are really taking away his threes. That's a big thing. They're kind of letting him drive into contested lanes, contesting it really well. But for the most part, they're kind of forcing the ball out of his hands. And then they're into the role player guys. And also on top of that, Ant's ankle is like really cooked. Something that could hinder Dante here is like an Ant 40 ball. I don't think that's with how Golden State's defending him and with how his ankle is. I think this is going to be a big role player game. So Dante, I kind of got sidetracked here, but Dante, guys, he's averaging 15.3 PRA. I said all that to say that Dante is going to keep playing big minutes. He's shooting 30% from the field from the playoffs. He's shooting 21% from deep. He is playing so bad. Like, it's actually ridiculous. Or he's not playing bad. He's shooting so bad. It's actually ridiculous. He's just do a ton of positive regression. So he had one game against the Lakers where he played 16 minutes this postseason. He was in insane foul trouble. I think it was like game 2 in LA. Shocker. I think our whole team was mostly in foul trouble. But for the most part, guys, I mean, so we took out that game. He played 25 in a blowout, 31, 29, 30, 32, 33 in game 1 against Golden State. 26 against Golden State. I think we lost 4 minutes due to blowout, so probably would have ended at 30 because he closes pretty much every game for us, or he closes every game for us. So yeah, I have this filter at 25 to 33 minutes, and look, I'm using a field goal percentage filter because I just want to show you guys how low this line is for when he shoots like a normal percent. So when he shoots 30% to 55%, like I'm not being overzealous with this. This is just like a very normal game if he shot between 30 to 55%, right? Like 55% would obviously be good. That's not even like really good. That's just like good, right? And 30% would be like bad but not terrible. So it's like between those two sides. If you can see this chart, right? 25 to 33 minutes, 30% to 55% from the field. We're just like, this is just like normal stuff, right? This is just like what happens most of the time. He's averaging 19.6 PRA in the sample. He's over in 18 out of 23 games. So, guys, basically, I say all this to say, if Dante was shooting just like a normal percentage from the field this postseason, this line would be at like 19.5. So we're just getting a massive discount. One of these games is going to be his game. I just feel very confident that it's not going to be a spike Ant game. And so it's going to be a role player game. Dante's going to get his shots up. The thing is, with the Warriors, they're really good at closeouts, but Dante's release is so quick on his catch and shoots, and he can shoot from so deep that it really doesn't matter. He's just missing right now. But like it matters for the other guys who can't get their shots up quick, like a Mike Conley, right? And who can't really attack a closeout that well. So yeah, Dante, like I said, I think it's a great matchup for him. He can get his shot up so quick. He can play make off drives. He can't really finish, to be fair. But he definitely can play make off drives. He can get his shot up at will. And this line is just like I said, man, if he was just shooting normal this postseason, I seriously think this line with like how many minutes he's playing, this line would be like 19.5. So love buying low on Dante here. Let's get to the rest of the Wolves, guys. Like I said, man, Ant, I do unfortunately lean under, man. He didn't look good in the second half, in my opinion. He looked like he didn't have the same vertical. I know Ant's body is crazy with how he recovers from injuries and stuff, and the fact that he just plays through every injury is why I love him so much. One of the many reasons why I love him so much. But if I'm gonna be honest, man, I just don't see a big Ant game. I don't think he'll have like a stinker, but I do lean under on his 27.5 points. Like I said, he's just gonna get that aggressive coverage from them. Julius Randle's interesting, man. He does a ton of mismatch hunting, and he played an awesome game last game because he obviously benefits from the attention Ant gets and can score that way. He also sometimes just takes advantage of the mismatch, makes a quick move, and gets a bucket. He also is a really good passer, right? When he does get the double, and that all came to fruition for Julius last game. He played awesome, man. I was talking about how I like his under. I last game, and thank God I didn't play it, but yeah, you could sell me on some Julius stuff here. You really could. Don't love the spot, right? Just like how I have been attacking props this whole postseason. Not that I've been having crazy success or anything, but yeah, you're definitely buying high a little bit. It's like you're not getting a discounted price or anything. But yeah, Julius is interesting. I think his stuff's pretty fairly set, but maybe like a slightly into the over on him. Jaden's interesting too. So one thing that kind of intrigued me was Jaden 4.5 rebounds. It's super juiced. Jaden, for the most part, he's guarding kind of like everyone. He's guarding Jimmy a fair bit. he's really not guarding. I mean, he guards Buddy Hield a little bit, but that's also Mike Conley a lot when he's in. That's Nikhil when he's in. So I kind of think that Jaden. I know he only had 2 rebounds and 8 chances, but I kind of think that that's going to regress a little bit. He's been a great rebounder for like the whole like second half of the season. Like I think that he literally averaged what like yeah, I mean this is that's 74 games, but let's go like 50 games. Last 50 games, he's averaged 6.4 rebounds. He's obviously going to play massive minutes. He's really not a risk. I guess he is a risk for foul trouble. I guess when he's guarding Butler, but Butler will see a mix of Jaden, Julius, and Ant. So I don't think he's going to be like overwhelmed on that. Obviously, you could argue scheme wise, it's a good matchup for Jaden just by loading up on Ant. They have been really trying to run the guys off the 3-point line. Probably not Jaden, but and Jaden obviously he's going to get guarded by one of like the lesser defenders. Probably maybe not Buddy Hield, but definitely not Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's actually been guarding Rudy, and Draymond's been guarding Julius and stuff like that. So obviously, like Julius's primary matchup is kind of tough. Who does that leave? Is that I think last game it was shoot, I'm trying to think about who was even. Oh yeah, it was Buddy Hield on it. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So yeah, Jaden, I am a fan of Jaden stuff. I think his rebounds specifically at 4.5 do intrigue me a little bit. Like I said, as long as he's not like with no Steph, like with Steph, if Steph was playing, like hell no, but with no Steph, I think that his rebounds kind of regress to the mean a little bit more, and he's more around that 6 rebound range. So that's something that stood out to me a little bit. Same with Nas. Nas makes sense. He's got a quick trigger too. Like I said, I think it's like a more so a Dante and Nas series, or if Dante ever makes his shots. Just these guys, man, who can get up the shots quick, because Golden State really is like trying to run them off the 3-point line. But when you got a quick trigger like Dante, quick trigger like Nas, I think his stuff's interesting. I think the 12.5 line is pretty fairly set. I guess there is 11.5s out there. Guys, this 11.5 for Nas, I'm actually a really big fan of if you can find it out there, because he played what 30 minutes, 34 minutes. Yeah, man. I mean, if Nas is playing like 28 plus, which I think that he for sure is. I mean, okay. Some of these games are, let's do it with Randall and Ant. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty ridiculous too. With Randall and Ant, 28 plus minutes. Obviously, guys, playoff basketball. This game has like a total of 200, so kind of gotta take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I think that Nas makes a ton of sense too. Definitely a good matchup for him. Nas and Dante are just the two guys. Rudy, buy low spot for sure. Not a fan of it, man. Golden State's just such a good fundamental discipline team. So yeah, stay away from Rudy personally. Nikhil's a little bit interesting. He's at 5.5 points. Nikhil is such a confidence player, man, and he should be riding high, right? Shot 4 for 6 from deep last game, 7 for 13. Played great, played awesome. Very good off-ball screen navigator. So you could sell yourself on him being like needed on defense. Obviously, it's a little bit different without Steph. But yeah, basically, guys, Nikhil, like I said, he's just such a confidence player. So it's like, yeah, you're buying high, but yeah, it's like he actually like needs it kind of. He needs to, when he's down, and when he's up, he's up. So yeah, he could be like a live bet person, and you bite the bullet and say he makes his first 3 of the game. I mean, he's probably going to take like 8 more shots if that happens. So it's like, okay, he made his first 3 of the game. Now his line's like what 7.5. You can maybe sell yourself on that. So I mean, that's kind of my thought there. Mike Conley too. I'd stay away, man. His lines are absurdly low. 5.5 points. I would not touch that. If you want to get like super cheeky with it, like Mike Conley when he's out there, he is chasing around Buddy Hield. So under 1.5 rebounds at plus 140, maybe it's worth like a stab. But yeah, I don't really, not a big fan of Mike Conley stuff, but also think that his lines are fairly set as well. All right, last team but not least, actually, yeah, least, because screw the Warriors, Wolves in 5, baby. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler points. Look, that was just a very poor spot game for the Dubs, in my opinion, last game. I think it was like a terrible spot game. But what the Wolves are doing, man, is every single press conference, you hear them speak, you hear Finch speak, all they're talking about is defending the off-ball screens. Like this team is they're a pretty poor off-ball screen team. Like when they're not hyper locked in. Like they're actually like a very poor off ball defense team. The Wolves are with Ant and Julius mainly. But yeah, I mean that's all they talk about is stopping off ball screens. They are genuinely treating Buddy Hield like he's Steph Curry. So by the way, guys, Buddy Hield under nothing for me. They truly are treating Buddy Hield like he's Steph Curry. And I know it's like, oh, why are you putting Mike Conley on him then? Mike Conley's a great off ball, like he's great in that chaser role on defense. So but yeah, they're putting a ton of attention to Buddy Hield. Jimmy Butler passed up so much shit. I mean, if you like look up Jimmy Butler on Twitter, you go to Warriors Twitter, it's just gonna be like them complaining about how few shots Jimmy takes. Look, man, I think that between games 2 and 3, I'm sure they had some talks with Jimmy. They're like, Jimmy, man, like our offense is so ass without Steph. We need you to take 20 plus shots tonight. And look, the Wolves are fine with that, man. They can make it tough on Jimmy, right? I mean, yeah, Jimmy's gonna do his thing, but Jimmy, we have so many good isolation defenders, man. Like Ant is great on Jimmy, Jaden's great on Jimmy, Julius is great on Jimmy. So it's gonna come tough, but we're really not gonna double him like that. And if Jimmy's aggressive, I think it's gonna be a great volume spot for him. I think in the Bay, Warriors keep it close. It's like a 5-point spread. Both of these games, guys, like I said, I have a slight blowout concern, like with the Celtics Knicks, that the Celtics finally hit their shots and the Knicks might get blown out. But Warriors Wolves, have no doubt in my mind that this game is gonna come down to the wire, and players should be, starters should be in the game until like 2 minutes left at worst. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Jimmy overs, to be honest with you. I have not got to the window yet with him, but big fan of that buy low off that game, man. He just wasn't trying. It was the Warriors were bullshitting as a team, kind of, to be honest, like Steve Kerr with like that 14-man rotation. Yeah, Jimmy's gonna have to score. Kuminga, look, I think honestly on a permanent basis, I'm a big fan of Kuminga. Like if you could guarantee me he plays 28 minutes, I think that over 14.5 points is a great bet, to be honest with you. I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. Ults or nothing, man. Maybe sprinkle on 20. I wouldn't hate that. It just, dude, this dude makes one mistake and then like Pat Spencer comes in and hits a 3. Like he's dead ass getting benched for him. So yeah. But permanent basis, the usage should be great. We're not going to do anything crazy to like get the ball out of Jonathan Kuminga's hands. He's an inefficient player. He's kind of an empty calories scorer, to be honest with you. So yeah. Yeah, very strong lean over on Kuminga. Just like you can't guarantee his minutes and stuff like that. Pods, look, man, Pods' role is more than enough for a 21.5 PRA line. I promise you that. He has the ball in his hands a ton. He's probably locked in for 36 minutes in a competitive game. I just don't think he can create anything on his own. Like we're not going to help off him. Like I said, we're not going to overhelp on Jimmy. No one's there to generate him open looks, so he's going to have to generate anything out for himself. And like I said, Ant's mainly on Pods, and Ant, he's not scoring in isolation on Ant, and I don't trust Pods to create. I think it's like this is like a bet that you make. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, I bet on Pods. He played 38 minutes and shot 4 for 14, but it's like you like look back at the shot quality and it's like, okay, well, all these were like terrible shots and stuff. So I guess like if you want to give yourself a pat on the back and be like, oh, Pods, right read, wrong result, hook emoji. Now, but to be fair, like 21.5 PRA is enticing. He just has a great role. So yeah. Draymond, don't have much thoughts on him, to be honest with you. I think his line's probably pretty fairly set. He's a big benefactor of like Steph being there and stuff. Yeah, he's probably gonna get his volume in, but same thing with Pods, right? It's like, well, he's not self-creating anything. So not much thoughts on Draymond here. Moses Moody, the bench guys, these guys are all toss-ups. I will say Gary Payton, man, I'm pissed at myself for not playing his under last game. This dude, without Steph Curry, bro, like he's not even gonna. He needs Steph Curry out there to like do anything on offense. To be honest with you, like he truly does. It's like, yeah, maybe he gets left open here or there, but it's like not even. Yeah, it's like he's great and like when he can sneakily run like a 2-man game with Steph. He's really good at like making plays out of that. It's just like no one on the Warriors has the gravity to to get a double team going. So it's like Yeah, it's like Gary Payton's just not gonna do shit like that, and then it's like then he's like really useless out there, right? Um, yeah, so Gary Payton stuff, honestly, kind of lean under, even though it's like this line's egregiously low for someone who's pretty trusted by Kerr. But yeah, Warriors bench man, just a toss up. I will say, guys, Trace Jackson Davis. If we go here, Trace Jackson Davis, I actually think that he might kind of be here to stay. Looney played 3 minutes, Post played 3 minutes. Um, Trey Jackson Davis, man, I thought he played pretty good, and he's pretty good on offense. And I think that Steve Kerr is just like so desperately searching for offense without Steph that I think that TJD is here to stay. He played at the end of the game with 20 minutes around. I think he got like a little bit of blowout run. Actually, probably did, but he didn't even get a first quarter run. I thought he played really good in his minutes. And then, like I said, it just depends on what the line's at. But if you see like a 5.5 Trace line, I think that's awesome, man. 5.5 points, maybe like 6.5 I'd still be getting there. Yeah, man. I think Trace is here to stay. So looks like there's not any lines up for him, but he's another guy to keep your eye out on because I don't think anything was fluky about the way he played. I think that he seriously could have a good impact on the game. So he's actually someone that I'll be eyeing very closely for when or if he gets props. All right, guys. Quick summary. Let's go back to a quick summary for the Knicks Celtics game. Think that the Knicks kind of get handed their asses handed to them. Strong lean on Celtics -5.5. And will end up playing one of Kristaps or Al Horford just based off of starting lineup and injury news. And I do think it's very important to wait to get all that news because it's just a very weird situation going on. Like I'm sure that the Celtics would love to be able to get 24 minutes out of Kristaps here, right? And like who knows if he's going to start? Who knows how he's feeling? It's just a very weird situation. So just got to wait it out and see all that's going. So. And then official play was DiVincenzo over 16.5 PRA. Like I said, man, I just don't see the Spike Ant game for how he's getting defended for that nasty ankle shot and how he looked in the second half. Just don't see it. Warriors are going to continue to load up on Ant. I truly think like the two guys who can take advantage of the Warriors defense, because like I said, they are so good at closing out and flying around that you either got to be able to have a quick trigger to get your shots off. So big fan of like Dante, big fan of Nas. Obviously, I played Dante. I think that his line is like I seriously think that if he's had normal shooting variance this postseason, this line would be 19.5. So great buy low, great matchup schematically. So yeah, Dante 16.5 PRA. And like I said, I hate to say it, man. I'm a really big fan of Jimmy Butler over 22.5 points. Yeah, I'm just a really big fan of it. He's gonna get single coverage. I'm sure Kerr was in his ear like, Jimmy, man, just get some more shots up for us. So definitely a good buy low spot as well. Fully confident that Wolves Warriors stays competitive too. So all right, approaching that 40-minute mark, guys. I never even said this, but if you guys are still here, make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel, all that good stuff. If you're on podcast, make sure to leave a review, 5 stars, please, pretty please. But all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and be back Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.